Welcome, everybody, to another action-packed hour of Down and Dirty with the Badger State Tractor Pullers live. Greg Elstein, president of the Badger State Tractor Pullers, Mr. John Stanley, one of the sexy voices of the Badger State Tractor Pullers, and our special guest tonight, John Hollywood Kutz, his beautiful wife, Natalie, and Henry, the future driver of one of John's pro stocks that he hasn't built yet. But I guarantee by then you'll be rolling in a pro. So we do this every Monday night on the live on the Badger State Facebook page, and we're live on YouTube as well. You can also catch us on iTunes or Spotify as well for people who like to listen to this later in the week. So this is where I shut up and I let the professionals take over. Stanley, roll with it, buddy. Who's our fantastic sponsors of Down and Dirty?
The Farm Street Toys, Casper Egg, Slama Enterprises, and also Trip Downing. So great sponsors for the Down and Dirty with the Badger State Tractor Puller. None other than the points champion, Johnny Kutz, with us tonight. So congratulations on the points championship.
Thank you, guys.
Is that the second one in a row?
No, with 21 and 23.
Okay.
So, yep. Mm-hmm.
How many times have you won the limited roll?
Twice.
Twice, just some new times?
Yep. Once in Super Farm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of pulling for how many years have you been pulling?
Since 2000, so 23 years. So,
yep.
And we were PPL champion, tour champion one year too. So.
That's right. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Super Farm, right?
Yep, correct.
Yep.
I'm
ready.
Good.
Well, I've been pulling 30-some years, and I've only got one done. So.
Mm-hmm. What do you say?
One win.
Keep trying, Greg. It's okay.
I thought I was going to get into class with less guys in it, and then that didn't work either.
Oh.
Because you keep going in the same class as Randy Baru.
Yeah.
He's easy to beat.
Henry laughed at that.
Yeah.
It's okay, Henry. You can laugh at Greg. It's fine.
Are you sure, Henry, you want to laugh at me?
Yeah.
You'll laugh at Greg, won't you?
Yeah.
Might as well.
So how did the fall season go for you?
Oh, we just got finished up this morning, so I guess it's better now. Yeah, right?
Got a lot of chicken litter to haul, though, too, right?
Yeah, we got a lot of that to do and cleaning and all that fun stuff. So I think we're probably close to half done with the litter. So
yeah,
mm-hmm.
That ain't too bad.
No.
Been a good fall, that's for sure.
Yep, can't complain. Say I wouldn't mind the 60-degree weather like we've been having. But
right, that's
going to come to an end.
For us, this is the first year the tillage equipment's been right behind the combines the whole time.
Really?
Yep.
That's kind of nice.
It's really nice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we got a few days of tillage, but not a lot. So
yeah.
So John, you raise how many acres of your own crops, and you also do fertilizer work with?
Yeah, we're right around 4,000 acres of our own, owned and rented, and then we do a little custom farming, probably 1,500 acres. So we got the Hordes Dairy Farm that we do all their work besides the forage harvesting. So, and then we do spraying too, spraying and pesticide, that kind of stuff. So between my father-in-law, Pat, and myself, I think we sprayed, it was like 28,000 acres through the two machines. So, wow. But yeah, and then we got the poultry litter business. So we spread about 20,000 acres of poultry litter a year. So
mm-hmm. Pat pretty much does most of that.
Pat spreads probably 99% of that. So
does he? I mean, some farmers do it themselves, or does Pat do all of that?
He does. It's probably 70% of it. So there's some the brokers sell, and that goes kind of all over. That goes, Illinois, northern Wisconsin, Minnesota. We've had some go to South Dakota, some to Iowa, but really? Kind of goes all over. So, so it seems like you mess with that stuff almost every day. So every week, anyways, year round. So Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. It's
You
kind
guys,
of a busy deal.
you spread lime too, don't you?
Yeah, we got a little bit of that to do yet. There's 2 or 3 local co-ops we spread for, plus some outside work. So
Yeah.
yeah, and then my dad lays drain tile, him and 1 or 2 hired men. So there's always something going on. So
There's always something going on, and there's always something broken, right?
yep, exactly. There's always something to fix. As you know well, Greg, you know.
I do. We all know. Anybody that does this knows.
Yep, the phone always rings. So
Yep.
it's not always good.
And it's never anybody telling you you won the lottery.
Yeah, right?
That's what I'm waiting for.
What would you do if you won the lottery, Greg?
I would love to find out. Yeah. I might have
tractor,
then.
What was
farming
that?
and tractor pulling.
Yeah.
It's gonna break. It's just winning how bad.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yep. No.
But,
So you got Natalie with you there?
yep.
Explain the rest of the family. How many kids you have? And
All right. So that's my wife, Natalie. We got 3 kids. Lacey, my oldest, our oldest, I should say. She's 13, and Wesley, he's 9, and Henry's 4. So,
I kind of thought Wesley's like 36.
well, he tries to be.
Yeah.
He actually sat in a chisel plow all weekend. So,
Did he?
yeah, yeah, there he is. So,
there's
Yeah.
Wesley, king of the
mhm.
mountain.
Yep. He's missing this. He's on a date.
He's on a date right now.
What?
Like I said, 36.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next time you see him, you have to ask him, Greg.
I
All
think
right.
you lost Hollywood status.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
There's a good picture of the old girl.
Yeah. From Toma this year. Mhm.
So since you started out, what's left of your original tractor?
Of the original tractor, I want to say is just the clouch housing.
Really?
Yep, from 23 years ago or whatever. But otherwise, everything's been swapped or broke or replaced. So that tractor, that chassis, Josh Miley made for us, I want to say in 17. So, but then Lemke's helped fit the sheet metal and do some fabbing on it. So
Okay.
otherwise, it's pretty much all Robbie Lemke's stuff. So
Yep. Who's fuel and air you got on?
so fuel, my good friend Adam Lindell, since he's retired now, he works for Diesel Forward or Diesel Injection, but he has done it since day one. So I'm guessing we'll have to go and have Dennis work on it now. Try, but otherwise, no. He's done the fuel, the injection pump since day one, so 23 years.
He's
So
done it. That thing's always been run.
Yep.
Always.
it's always been good, reliable. I think I've stuck one plunger once, and that was in 21 at Monroe. I think it was a Thursday night, and he wasn't going to work Friday, but he went in Friday and had it fixed Friday night. So, because we had to be somewhere Saturday. But otherwise, it's been awesome. So, we've tried other pumps. And I can remember once we sat, I believe, in Don Slama's dyno room. And he was so nervous. We put, I don't know, somebody else's pump on it. And he was so nervous that he was going to get beat. And it ended up his being 25 horse better or something. And he had to sit down and have a beer. He was kind of exhausted at that point. It was pretty funny. So, but he takes it to heart, So, I mean, you can't go wrong with it. He takes some pride in it, We got Weimer injectors and turbo on it. They work really close with Robbie. So,
Yep.
but, pretty much it's kind of Robbie's baby, I mean, it's whatever we got to try. He's been great over the years, So if it breaks, he has no trouble us getting us parts,
Right. And it's nice that he's like 10 minutes away, right?
Yeah, that's good and bad, Greg. You know that.
Tuesday date night. That'll probably start again when we're all out of the field here, right?
Yep. Well, like you say, it's really good when we need parts, and once in a while it's bad when there's a little alcohol consumption going on.
Right.
Extracurricular.
Yep.
Garrett Martins is on here and says one of the sharpest deers out there.
Thank you, sir. No, try to
Anybody
keep it.
has questions, don't be afraid to ask. We'll definitely ask them.
Mm-hmm.
And if you won't tell the truth, Natalie will.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Yep.
What about your tires on there? Who cuts your tires for you?
I've got a couple sets. So I've got some from Hawthorne, and I do have a set from Nichols. So, and they both have their place. You know how this tire game is getting. It's pretty tough to have just one set. I mean, it seems like you got to keep trying, and some tracks one set of tires work, some others work.
Right.
And it seems like yearly these tires are changing. I mean, what cuts are working, and the height of your lug, and I don't know if it's just the year with the weather, depending on your height of your lug and how aggressive and stuff like that. But
I think it does too. That like a dry year like we had, I think changes things. Guys, rainwater is always best in a track. That.
Right.
If they have to dump a bunch of water in it, it doesn't seem to work as well.
No.
Which,
Right.
That's what you have to do.
Right.
Yep.
It is what it is at that point. You just make the best of it. We all got to pull on it. So, but like I say, it seems like we fought more with tires in the last 3 years than we have anything else. I mean, it's there's turbo updates and stuff all the time too. But like I say, it seems like the tires are a bigger deal out of anything.
Right. Hitting the tires and I think hook position helps a little bit once in a while. But
right.
Some guys can come right from the back in a tire. You don't think it's the end of the class. You don't think they're doing anything. All of a sudden they're right out there.
Right.
So,
Right. Mm-hmm.
The beginning of the year, you did struggle a little bit at the beginning of the year, but you must have figured something out because about about of the way through, you really started coming on.
Yeah. They say we messed with some tires, some, combination, they say we got kind of a new engine combination over the winter, and it run different than it did last year, so like I say, it kind of had to change the whole setup, so
like change sometimes it likes high RPMs, and the next time it likes lower.
Right. Exactly. It's, I don't know. Like I say, it just took a little bit, I think, to kind of learn it again, So, like I say, Robbie changed our engine setup, and it kind of changed the whole tractor again. So,
yeah.
Did you have much for breakage this summer that you really had to wrench on, or was it?
Actually, we didn't have any. It's a good McCoy Jekyll. He helps me wrench on it all the time, and it got to where we got about halfway through the year, and I talked to Greg's boys, and they didn't believe me that we were going to go home, pull the head off of it just to double check everything. We did. We went and opened it up one night, and everything was perfect. So just put it back together.
See,
Trip down when they adjusted the clutch lately.
No, we haven't. No, Trip usually gets involved for them nights. There's a pretty good story. You have to ask Trip about that, John.
I have a video.
We got a video of
I have a video.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We should give that to Jason, or isn't it PG?
Yeah.
Jason's
Nice
our
work.
friend.
Hey, Natalie, can you send it to me on Facebook Messenger? I can play it during our show.
Oh, you can.
Yeah, just send it. Just send it to me. Right. Send it to me right now.
and then
I don't know if that's a good idea.
and Kathy Myers, so it makes the banquet video.
Yeah.
Oh, that's where I should have sent it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's our running joke, is if we need to adjust the clutch tonight. So.
Trip comes over.
Yep.
Is that like?
Is that what?
That like date night at Robbie's?
Well, similar. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like opening hunting a deer season. Half the guns rifles don't even get out of their case. It's just drinking.
Exactly.
It's,
Yep.
it's like the banquet, pretty much.
They
Yep.
get into the brown liquor rather than the beer, then it's over with.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah. Yeah, see? You'll have that.
Yep. Oh, you got to have a little fun with it, you know.
Right.
Like I say, Trip's a lot of fun. You know, he keeps the tractor at our shop. What is that, Jason? What
I'm gonna make this into a necklace and give this to Trip at the Badger State banquets, like Flavor
There you
Flav.
go.
So when he comes over, he's got to wear this around. And I'm just gonna call this the Justin the Clutch. I'm gonna put that right here. I bought this in Key West when I bought
Yep.
it, so you know what I was doing down there. So, I was the Justin the Clutch as well. So
Yep.
going to church.
Well-
So,
What? No, like I say, Trip's a lot of fun to be around. So,
Yeah.
but, mhm.
Throughout the summer, what was one of the most memorable pulls for the points championship? You know, a night that all come together that you might not have thought was coming together, or
Actually,
memorable one.
for us, I think it was Sauk City. So,
Was it?
yeah. It just kind of seemed like that night the track was going away. I don't know if you remember, Greg, but
Yep.
early, you know, and it was, you know, John Meyer Jr., Hank, him and I were battling, kind of going back and forth. And I'd kind of gotten in a little slough, you know, where I hadn't done much, it seemed like. And, you know, John was tough this year. You know, he come out with, you know, running good and with that new set of tires on, and that thing worked, you know. I mean, every weekend he was there and he was right at your heels, if not ahead of you.
He was pretty good.
Right. You know, that night at Sauk, I don't know if you want to say he kind of laid an egg, or, you know, just kind of one of them deals. That's tractor pulling, you know. If he tried to one side of the track, it wasn't real good. And, you know, Kevin Engelking was one or two tractors ahead of me and kind of went to the right side, kind of how McCoy and I had talked about, you know, and Kevin got out there a little ways, was pretty decent. Well, I told McCoy, let's try and do the same thing, you know, and we ended up laying it way out there and actually won the night, you know. And I think John Meyer Jr., I think he ended up almost last that night, and we kind of got our big lead back again. So,
Yeah.
but then it was kind of not conservative, but, you know, just kind of protect that lead a little bit. So,
Yeah. That's,
you know, and then, like I say, it kind of sucked. We had the sled failure at Viroqua, you know, so our class didn't get to run, or only a couple of them did, and then we got rained out at Monroe. But we had actually enough lead at Monroe that I told McCoy he could run at the last hook, you know, if we had enough lead. You know, I didn't want him, you know, if he did end up losing it, I didn't want him to feel bad if he drove it because of it. Stuff. I told him that he could drive it, so he works on it enough. So.
well, he did drive it once this year, didn't he? Did real well, didn't he?
He was at Monroe. He was suited up and it was running when it started raining. So he was
right.
the next tractor. So,
Yep.
But he drove it 3 or 4 times last year. So,
Oh.
But,
Adam Stevens says, "Tell us your secrets."
I just laid them all out there, Adam.
But
sounds
McCoy,
like Lemke. Go to Lemke. That's what it sounds like. That's all I've heard tonight. Lemke and tires, right, Natalie?
Yep.
I say Robbie's been good to us all the years. So, like I say, he does whatever we need. If we break something, all Natalie does is make a text or a phone call, and you know, I think it was in 2020 we were going to go somewhere and it broke, right? And I was ready to give up. Well, she called Robbie, and Robbie's like, "No, you're not giving up." He had a cylinder head on the shelf. We ended up putting on it. The next day we went with him to Iowa, I believe. So,
driven a Claas and Lynx tractor to this last year.
Yes, last year we did. Yep.
Yeah. That's a lot of fun doing that too, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Yep. It's all a big group, good group, you know.
Yeah.
like I said, it's kind of a chance you don't expect to get. And pretty appreciative for it. It was pretty neat.
Right.
To get on something like that, and then trust you to drive it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's fun working with Robbie and Wildman's and the whole group we hang around with there.
Right.
That's a lot of fun. And
yeah, Mr. Link kind of tops it off once in a while.
Right. Everybody.
Yeah.
This segment brought to you by the missing link, John Link,
Yep.
and Wisconsin.
A lot of people probably don't know he bought a house up by Wildman's there on the lake, didn't he?
Newville there, didn't he? Yeah.
Newville, yeah.
Condo.
Yep. You just never know when he's around now. Was it last week? It rained the one day, and Natalie and I went out for lunch, and we walked in, and like, wow, that looks like a Link Feeds hat. I turn and look. Oh no, that's Melody. His wife's sitting there. Oh no, it's John Link. This is gonna end badly.
Was it a rain?
What's that?
Was it a rain day? You didn't have to go back to the field?
Yep.
Luckily.
Yep. What? Josh Dunn.
We now affectionately call that adjusting the clutch, is what we call that name.
We used to call it checking the beans.
My Uncle Kurt used to tell my Aunt Joni he's going to get a gallon of milk.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
8 kids at home, 10 kids at home at a time, or whatever. He's going to get a gallon of milk. Call it what you want. It's all the same in the end.
That's right.
So, who else helped you out on the tractor? You said McCoy and that. Who else comes and does help or help
My
you
cousin,
out?
my cousin Andrew, actually, he drove the semi, I think, to every hook this year. So I don't think I had to drive it there once. So, which is kind of nice, You're busy, and he'll either leave early with it or whatever to make sure it's there, and it's pretty nice, I'm pretty appreciative for him, Like I say, he doesn't ask. There's times I ask, you want me to drive home? Nope, he'll drive. Okay, whatever. That's cool. So
That was the best thing when my kids got to drive home once in a while.
right. Right. It's a big difference. You got a lot of stuff going on during the day, and it's just, like I said, my wife Natalie, she's more of the persuasion or whatever behind it. So
A lot of drive.
Yep. It's, if we need something, she tells me to get it or makes a phone call to get it. Half the time I don't even have to call for it. So
You went and got your side-by-side one time too, didn't she?
yeah. Her side by side.
I just forgot to tell him right away.
But you were by her side in the side by side.
Yeah. I was in the combine. I got a phone call from Rob's, wanted to know which engine I wanted in it. What are you talking? I didn't have a clue what he was talking about.
Oops.
Biggest one, right?
Well, of course. Yeah. Wasn't a lot of question.
Why
Hey,
you
John.
call like
Go ahead, Greg.
Right.
John, do you think the limited pro class is as competitive as has it ever been, as it is like right now?
Oh, I think so. I would say this year in Badger State as any, there wasn't one tractor that was a slouch. Once in a while you have one that has an off night, but how many different winners were in it this year? I went through
your year before the show here. Looked like there was about 17 on average per hook.
Right.
That would be an average number.
I think the least we had was like 10 to 12.
Yep. So you start out the year. You start out the year at the Children's Hospital pool. You got 6th. You went to Mackville, got 2nd. Edgerton got 5th. Jefferson 4th. Darlington 2nd. You got your first win of the year in Monroe at the fair. It's a Greene County Fair.
Right.
Ellenville, that's just right down the road, right from you.
Right. Yep.
Got second, then first at Freeport. So you had 3 there in a row, a first, a second. Well, shit, starting with Darlington, you went second, first. So
Yeah.
that was a real, that's where you tipped over. Mazo 7th, Warren 9th, and he didn't do anything wrong. Like you said,
Right.
it's just the class is
Right.
so tough. And
Mhm.
come back to Milledgeville with the 2nd, Beaver Dam with the 7th,
Right.
Pecatonica, you had an 8th. You won Sauk. Highland, you got 7th, and then the last 2 were rained out. So,
Right.
the sled, and then the sled in
Right.
Viroqua, and then the rain in Monroe. So
How many? You didn't happen to look how many different winners were there this
I can,
this?
I know a guy who can figure that out. How about that? So
I mean, there was quite a few.
There was quite
Yeah.
a few. There's 6 winners, I'm thinking,
Right.
or maybe
Well,
more.
I think there was more than that.
Yeah.
give me a few minutes. I'll let you know for sure.
You know.
We have a website and everything, bstponline.com. Then you scroll.
I mean,
We were at the
really.
PPL banquet this weekend, and I sat in on a limited pro class, and they had that class was limited pros and light pros together, and there was not one complaint or talk about changing anything, and I can't think anybody had any real breakage in Badger State this year. I couldn't have, because of maybe of having an ag chassis tractor rather than a component style tractor.
Hmm. I know, like we've learned that there's stuff that we have to check or replace every year. That it won't withstand it, or it won't hold up. So,
but that's like I've said at the meetings for that, that there's a reason it's called limited. Something has to limit it you. If that's the thing
Right.
that's breaking, and that might be the thing that's limiting you.
Right.
It's part of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
A lot of guys, weight is too much. Well, don't build a 60-30 in a class.
Oh, right.
But they have to spend money to lighten them up to get them, to compete.
Right. And that's fine. The only thing I can say up until that point is until it comes a safety issue,
Right.
There's going to become a point at one point in time, it's going to be an issue where there's too much material or iron taken out of these, I don't think we're there yet, but.
No, I don't. But one thing I've been noticing too, we talked tires before, these newer tires are getting heavier too.
Yeah.
If they're hooking up better, you might need to have more weight movement.
Right. Yep.
But you've got a light tractor.
But I'm about out of movable weight.
You've got a lot of, but yeah, compared to, some other guys. And
Mm-hmm.
we ourselves, we talked about going with a lighter rear end in ours. I still run a 1066 rear end. If I went with the 76, it's a little lighter, but then I said, they break a lot more. Let's see where we're at, and try and do. And we didn't grind anything out of ours at all yet.
Mm-hmm. We haven't really ground anything in ours yet either, but I kind of foresee it's coming,
Yeah.
I mean, there was 1 or 2 times where, everything was on the front end that we had,
Right.
Tires and tracks. I mean, trying to get them to do a better job with the tracks, and you get a good track. I mean, it takes everything you got, So,
10 different winners this year, Kutzy. You had 3 out of what, 20 hooks probably?
I think 20. It was a 19 or 20 or 21, something like that.
You had 3. Tony McDonald had 1. Gallitz had 3. Engel King had 1. John Meyer Jr. had 2. Frederickson Feller had 1. Bill Smith had 1. Scott Olson had 1. Elstein, not Greg Elstein, his kids, they actually win. He had 1, and then Gerlach had 1 too. So, I had to get that taken there.
Ruthless. You've missed Greg the last couple of weeks. That's showing. You two need to hug and get it over with.
Last week we went, last Tuesday or Wednesday. What night, Greg, did we meet down at that bar down by Fry's? What's that place called?
Tuesday night.
Yep.
So,
Greg and I are friends. We just pick on each other a lot. So.
Stuck to the root beer that night, didn't we?
Yes, I think we worked on the clutch. So, if I would have stayed later, it would have been a clutch type of a night. So
Yep. He was slipping the clutch when he was leaving.
That's why I got the Tesla.
Yeah. But as you say, Greg, competitive our class. So we had, if there was, how many members are there in Limited Pro? 17?
I think there's over 20.
Is there 20?
I'm counting right now.
So half of the class had a win,
Yeah.
Yep. That's
Sharing.
That's pretty good. That's like you say, every night you don't know who's going to win.
Right.
So there was nobody that ran away with it.
You'd probably same thing with last place. You probably have 10 different guys that got last place, and I bet you some of them guys that got last might have gotten to first or in the top 3
Right.
once.
Right. And half of that might have been hook position. You don't. It's just.
Limited Pro and Hot Farm are 2 of my favorite classes to watch a lot. Because there are so many different winners in them 2 classes.
Yeah. Right. Well, they're all good tractors. There isn't a slump. So. Mm-hmm.
Tony Smerling says, "What's behind the Hollywood name?"
I think Greg started it.
Greg starts everything. Trust me. Greg starts everything.
I remember it when it ended up being in Henry, Illinois when it started, right?
Yes.
Every time there was a big money pull, John Kutz would win.
Yeah. If it was televised or big money, it seems like I could win it. I couldn't win nowhere else, but.
And he'd go up there and talk with his sunglasses on. And I said, "You're fucking hell."
Yeah. There was 2 times we were in Henry. I got both crystal bowls.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mark Althauser, man, Schultz is mean. Laugh out loud.
Yeah. No. But what do you think about changes next year? What do you think, John? Or I haven't heard a turbo coming out or anything for the class, but what do you go to look forward to change that won't hurt?
Oil.
What's that?
Change the oil. Call it good.
Right. Well, we'll keep working on it. So we'll keep making passes. See if we can find some more. But what I guess, Greg, is there any rules coming for the turbos as far as the safety side, as far as the cross or? There
is, and I can't talk. How the Weimer turbos got that thing in the back,
the ring in the pro stocks, yeah.
Yep, that's what everybody's pretty much going to. They're making them for everybody.
Okay.
It's not 100% for sure that's what it is, but that's the next step, and just the 2 bolts getting closer to the
right.
To the
that's what I was at the Outlaw banquet this weekend, and that's what they're pushing, John and Greg. So the Weimer crossbolt thing you're talking about, right?
Yeah, the ring or whatever. So
we'll have pictures of them at the banquet. They had pictures of them down in Louisville this last week.
Are they going to have a spec?
Huh?
Are they going to have like a spec or an SFI deal or?
Yes, I think they didn't really say, but I think SFI has to approve it first. Make sure it's something that they feel is right.
Right.
But that accident we're talking about, when you hear the truth of that and what really happened, that tractor was 100% legal and teched to the T. It was right. And what we've all heard happened, it did not happen.
Oh, really?
Yep. So,
okay.
We've heard the worst, and I want to defend everybody that, because I was the same way. I just kind of repeated what people said.
Right.
It actually didn't happen.
Yeah.
It was a whole different situation, but
sure.
We'll let that all come out.
Right. Yep. I just, like I said, I figured we're going to have something for that. Is it going to be exhaust only or intake too?
Exhaust only for right now. They've talked about something on the intake too, so I don't know. That we weren't sure about yet. The Wesley.
What?
You got some explaining to do now.
Tell them where you were.
Hollywood.
Tell them where you were. Where were you at?
Somewhere.
You were out dating.
No, I was not.
No.
Who were you
No,
with?
hey.
I'm not. She doesn't have a. I don't have a crush on her.
Sounds like it.
Red.
Sounds-
We get all the info eventually, Wesley. One way or another. Hey, Henry.
Hi.
Well,
No, but back
There
to
he
stuff, we
goes.
know that there's always there's some you can think you've got everything right, but there's there's something happens. Look how long NASCAR's been around. All the stuff that happens
right,
and drag
right.
stuff like that. Just stuff's going to happen.
Right. Well, we're pushing them harder every year. You know, I mean, it's just the way it is. So
Right. Even in the pro stock class, there's going to be a turbo limit now. So
yeah.
so it's all our turbos are going to fit it, but we got to say a stop to this. I said, hey guys, 15 years ago or whenever it was, we went to 5-inch turbos. That was just a monster turbo, remember?
Yeah.
And all the guys, I sat in a meeting in Louisville, and all the pullers, this is pro stock. We're not putting limits on our turbos and all this. I'll guarantee you 80% of those guys that were at that meeting are not pulling anymore.
Right.
So even all the Badger State guys say there needs to be a limit.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to put limits on stuff, and then it's going to be like limited pro and super farm. And they're going to find but a couple hundred horse in pro stock is not that big a deal.
Right.
But it needs, because they were talking about a 7-inch turbo down there, somebody's building. That's, you can't do.
Well, like I say, where's it going to stop? The turbo technology has changed so much in the last 5 to 10 years. It's almost unbelievable.
Right. And I'm not against the way Outlaws does it with a box turbo, and you just go grab it and go.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't want to limit different lines of different, and I don't know if one guy could supply them all.
Right.
But right now, one guy is supplying them all.
Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with a little competition, though, too.
Right. Right. But I don't know what that's just kind of the stuff that was talked about down there.
Mm-hmm.
But I think other than that, everything else was pretty smooth down there.
Yeah.
Mm.
Cool.
So
No, like I say, other than that, I don't see a lot of changes in our class coming.
Nope.
I mean, right.
Afraid about the tire thing and what to do, this and that. So who do you know?
I feel like tires. I feel like tires really, John, have been the biggest. I don't know, not difference maker, but yeah, kind of a difference maker. I mean, I feel like that's been the biggest technology, because for years we just all ran Firestones, right? And all of a sudden, people started dying different things. And did anybody at Badger State put any METOS on this year, John, in your class in a limited?
Tom Gallups had a set on.
Okay.
So, and they were,
Yeah, we had a couple out. I spent a lot of time out on the outlaw circuit this past summer, last couple summers, and I think a couple 4-1s ran as METOS, but they weren't like, I can't even tell you if they were dominant or not, but I know they're pretty successful with it. So.
Right. I mean,
I'm like you too. I'm glad there's some different competitors out there. I just want it to be, like I felt like when I had my hot farm, Kutz, we would do anything for 15 horse. You know what I mean?
Right.
And,
and it seems like everybody's complaining about these tires, but if it was a turbocharger, they'd do it.
Right.
I mean, so why are you going to limit the tires now if, I mean, it's, I don't know.
Well, the tire measurement is still going to be measured the same way with the 10 pounds of air in them. And
it's still going to be 10 pounds. I thought we lowered that, or was going to.
It was proposed and they didn't do it yet.
Okay.
Like when I measure the tires, I don't ask anybody to put 10 pounds in unless I measure them and they're real close. Then we'll, there's nothing to pumping them up. If you're 207, you're not going to get to 210, even if
Right.
all these new tires are pretty dang close.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're kind of more following spec, I mean, Firestone was just, it was a tire or casing they had,
Right.
Where, these other tires have all been made to the spec, the mold or whatever was made to the spec that we, the maximum
Right.
circumference. But width we can run.
I feel the new tires too are more consistent than the old Firestones. You know, all of a sudden you get a great big pair of them. Somebody would, and I always that happen if they make the same mold. But I think I've been told it's the way it depends on who was laying the cords in that day because that's all done by hand.
Yep, sure.
So we do want to go down and have a show about making tires and stuff sometime too. We've been guys trying to get down there, so that'd be cool to see. I think.
Sure. No, it would be kind of neat, you know.
Yep.
John, I'm assuming you put in for Louisville.
Yes, Natalie did.
Natalie did. Yeah, that's a lot of paperwork for you to fill out.
It's what, John?
Did Natalie put in for Shipshawana?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Trip had a little say to that.
Adjust the clutch first.
I don't know.
He just really likes to go tractor pulling, and I was slacking on sending the stuff in for ship, and he just kept reminding me, and then he said, "I'm just going to do it for you then."
So he did it?
No, I ended up doing it, but
he couldn't get it figured out to put it on with him already signed up, and it was a software issue.
We have Tucker. We have Tucker coming on tonight at 8:40 on our Let's Grow Pulling show, Natalie. I'll make sure you guys are in, okay?
Yeah, we're in.
Yeah. Josh Dunn was pushing pretty hard too. So Josh and I have gone and kind of we call it a dumb idea. We end up going pulling somewhere out of the ordinary, and just kind of one of them dumb things him and I do together. So
And I think John will be like, "Hey Natalie, do you care if?" I'm like, "No, go have fun." He's like, "Really?" And then they show up at 5 o'clock in the morning, or Lynn's calling Josh, wakes up, Josh is still not home.
Yeah.
Clutches again.
we went to Ridgeland one night.
Yeah.
It was a weekend we had off, you know. So I wasn't planning on going anywhere, and Josh calls me at like 10 in the morning. He's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I said, "I don't know, I was screwing around." He's like, "Why don't we go to Ridgeland?" I'm like, "Really?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "What? Come on, no." I looked at her. I'm like, "Josh wants me to go to Ridgeland." "Well, why don't you go?" I'm like, "We had a weekend off."
That's such a funny story, because the Outlaw Banquet, everybody doesn't want too many hooks, right? And then Kurt Van Beek said, "I give you guys the weekend off. You're going to go freaking pulling somewhere else."
Well, we did it. So at noon or 12:30, Josh, I'm like, well, I go to Josh, "What time we got to load?" "I don't know, 12:30, you know." So he meets us at our place. 12:30, we throw everything in our trailer. And we leave. We get there an hour before. You know, I call Uncle Raj. I'm like, "Hey, we're showing up. You know, we might be a little cutting it close." You know, so we stand around there all night. I pulled at 11:45, and Josh pulled at like 12:15 in the morning. You know, so we turn around, load up, and go home. I think we got back to our place at like 5:30 in the morning, and he got home at 6 a.m. It's like
great idea.
the lights on the truck went out on the way home. I think I had one high beam, and it was quite the circus.
That's
Tractor pulling so awesome.
Those are memories. Those are great memories.
Yes.
Yeah.
John
that next
Lee has a question.
go to Rid-
Yeah.
There was a question on here about tires, if they're going from wider tires to more narrow tires. I don't believe so. I think everybody's keeping them just as wide and as tall as you can get them, right?
Right. It's 25 inches wide, right?
25 inches wide and 210 around at 10 pounds of air. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
There's
I
guys.
think there was some chatter in some pro stock classes, maybe about a narrower rim or something. I think I read somewhere. I don't know enough about it. You guys know I'm not very mechanical.
Our rules doesn't matter what rim width they're on, right? As long as they meet that.
Yep.
You know.
As long as they're 210 and 25. And we've got a tool to slide right on 25, and we got a tape measure. You spin around, and you take a jack and jack them up, spin them around, and measure them. You know, but honestly, we've been doing this long enough. You see a set of tires that you may have to measure. You know they're questionable, right?
Right.
When they look like 30.5s, yeah.
Well, or they're tall. You see them parked next another guy's, and they're 4 inches taller than his standing there. You guys like, well, Maybe his are really small or them are really big.
Yeah.
And generally really big because nobody will keep a set of small tires.
Right. Right.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So, we've all been doing this a long enough time that everybody knows what if somebody's doing something wrong, we all walk around each other's tractors, and a lot of times guys do something wrong, but they won't say anything. So,
Then Greg has to be the bad. Then Greg has to be the bad guy.
Yeah. Yep. And
that's why he gets paid the big bucks.
Exactly. I mean, you don't get to be the president and get paid $1 million a year of Badger State and just mess around, Kutzy, right?
Just think, right. Yeah, I'm going to start getting some interest on that sometime, right?
You already do.
You're interested in every conversation. There you go. How do you like that percentage?
Yep.
Elsing, you forgot more about pulling than most people will learn, so it's all good.
I always say when I'm not the president, I'm going to have a line for everybody because I've heard of it.
I'm sure you have. How many years you been president?
22. I was treasurer for 10 years before that.
So who was president then in 2000 when I started?
Larry.
Larry?
That's the year I took. Yep.
Okay. I say, because I only ever remember you being president. So.
Yep. I've got a plaque on there that says promoter of the decade. Yet Larry gave me the your job. But Lori's still active in his wife Lori still does all her points.
She does all the point work yet? Yeah.
She's the first one programs for computer sign up. People remember.
Yep.
We still have the best program. Other people have tried to copy it and they aren't even coming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I can remember her sitting with all the PPL guys or the ATPA back then, and they didn't have none of that.
Yep, they were still all doing it by hand.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It makes it so nice for the announcer too that people don't realize when the girls are up there and they're taking care of all that, but as soon as that laser distance comes through, they enter it in, it comes up there, and you don't have to read someone's handwriting. It's right on the screen. It's boom, we can read it, and boom, it goes on the board, and it's just nice. Get to the end of the class, they click, finish, sort, boom, there's your list. Read it off.
Yep. And then if girls ever want a week, if they think, hey, Lori, if they could do this too, would that be all right? And she's on and tries it either yes or no, I can do it. And she's usually the thing we're working on now is getting our app, so it will update in the stands too. So like when John's reading it, if you don't hear it, or even the guy pullers at the starting line, you don't hear it because they're, the speakers aren't right.
Right.
You can look and say, hey, he just went 330 feet,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But you always have to have good Wi-Fi for that.
Right. That would be nice because there's a lot of times the starting line or the pits you can't hear nothing.
Yep. But the biggest problem is Wi-Fi, I guess. But we're buying something, or Jason or somebody told me we're getting something to help with that.
Okay.
Maybe we can talk to Elon Musk and he can give us some free stuff from Starlink or something.
They work great. We used them all summer. For Outlaw TV, Greg, and Beer Money TV. They work great.
Yeah.
Yep.
They really do.
Well,
guys, let's start winding this up. I mean, you guys can keep this. You guys are having a good discussion. A lot of people are watching, but it's because Kutz is on, because he's a big deal.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Probably. Art.
What was that? You're cutting out.
Probably had the most California people watching so far. Hollywood.
Yeah. Okay. Nice.
All the big talent, John.
Yeah.
But I don't have a whole lot more unless John does.
I have a question for Kutz. What's been the toughest decision you've ever had to make in pulling, John? Like whether it was at a track or to keep going for a year, just there's been times you just want to say, you know what, I just need a break. I mean,
Right.
What was the toughest decisions you've ever made in pulling over the course of your career?
Boy, I don't know. Usually I have somebody else make that decision for me. There's been years I've wanted to quit, and between Natalie and McCoy, I mean, McCoy is Mr. Dedicated. I mean, he don't care. He'll come and work on it, and he's particular. You know, like transmissions and all that. I just walk away because that's his gig. That's what he does for his work. You know, but he'll take it apart 10 times and put it back together because he doesn't like it. You know, he's that particular with it. You know,
Where's he work at now?
Johnson Tractor in Janesville. So
Okay.
KCH dealership. Yeah, he's a mechanic. So, but you know, tough decisions. You know, I guess one of them was jumping classes. You know,
Yep.
I mean, back then, you know, I mean, Don Slama did an unbelievable amount for me. You know, we traveled the tour and stuff together and stuff like that, and you know, it was one of them things. I had done Super Farm 13 years, and you know, just kind of wanted to do something different. You know, I mean, I don't know. You know, it was just like I say, time for change. You know.
Yep.
So.
And both classes are very competitive and a lot of fun.
Right. You know, I mean, that's all the classes in Badger State, though, Greg. I mean, there isn't one really. I mean, there's one or two with not a lot of vehicles in, but for the most part, I mean, there isn't a lot of slouches in any class. You know, I mean, and that's how, you know, like back in the day, he decided to go run the tour. It was you know, the Super Farm class. They can, you know, they got some of the best in the country. You know, so you go somewhere else and run. You know.
Well, Josh Miley, he won that down to the PPL banquet this year. He only won one hook.
Really?
I believe, yeah. But he was just in there all the time.
All the time, yeah. Consistent, you know.
Yep.
That's all. Got to be there.
Right.
Well, John, thanks for coming on tonight. Congratulations on another
Thank you, guys.
points championship. We'll see you at the banquet here in a couple weeks. You and your entire team do an amazing job, and always sportsman and good guy. You know, just thank you for everything that you do for the sport. We really appreciate it. So,
Thank you, guys. You know.
Thank you very much.
all right, but thanks for watching, everybody. Every Monday night, 7 o'clock, live on YouTube and Facebook, Down and Dirty with the Badger State Tractor Pullers. What are you thinking next week, Greg or John? What are you thinking? We got to get ready for the banquet, or what were you saying earlier?
I honestly would like to go down to Matt Castor's Farm Street Toys. I haven't approached him on it yet. He just helped us out with some sponsorship again here. I would love to go down there and do something at his place if I can get a hold
Next
of him.
Monday night?
I will try. What do you think, John? Strange.
See what happens.
Huh?
Let's talk about it afterwards. We can see this weekend or something.
Yep. We'll see what we can do.
Okay.
Thanks to
All right.
Farm Toys, thanks to Slama Enterprises, Trip Downing, Casper Egg, and all you fans for watching every week. Thank you, John. Congratulations. And
Thank you,
happy
guys.
Thanksgiving, everybody.
All right, thank you, guys.
Have a good night, guys.
Yep.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
watching.